Welcome to my channel. I'm kinda reacting to this video from Military TV, where they explain why counter-rotating propellers are used sometimes. There's absolutely nothing wrong with their video, I just thought there might be something left to be mentioned. They show a lot of footage of these big Tupolev and Antonov planes, and for good reason. These are beloved by aviation nerds, and one reason is their engines. These happen to be the most powerful turboprop engines ever built, the Kuznetsov NK-12, which have a power output of around 15,000 horsepower. This leads to the reason why these engines were built with counter-rotating propellers, adding one or two details to Military TV's video. Of course, if you have a lot of engine power, you need some way to convert this power into momentum that you will need to push the plane forward. One thing is you can't just rotate propellers faster to get more thrust. That means technically you can, as proven by a plane that was named Thunderscreech for a good reason. No doubt if the propeller spins faster, the blades will push a greater amount of air at a higher speed in a given period of time, generating more thrust. But you want the tips of your blades to stay well below the speed of sound. If they don't, the closer to the speed of sound they'll get, the louder it will be, and the more energy will be lost in producing shockwaves in transonic flows. There are some documentaries about the Thunderscreech, and the sound of supersonic propellers seems to be very unpleasant. If you don't want the tips moving too fast, you can make the blades bigger and leave the diameter as it is. You could spin them at the same RPM, and these wider blades would affect a greater volume of air to transfer more power. But there's another limit. The wider the blades get, the more vortex drag you'll get because the aspect ratio goes down. Your propellers can produce more thrust, but you'll lose efficiency. Here's why: the mass of air that's flowing around the tips of your blades, creating vortices, gets bigger in relation to the mass that's pushed backwards. So there's more air flowing in directions you don't want it to, and lower efficiency is something you would not want for any airplane, let alone for a strategic long-range bomber. You can of course just use longer blades to make them rotate at slower RPM. This was the solution for many engine designs as the engines became more and more powerful, and that works because the area of a circle increases squared to its diameter. So if you double the diameter, the propeller can affect 4 times the amount of air. This results in a net win for bigger diameters. If you'd put a 4-bladed propeller on an NK-12, you would need 7 meters of diameter, according to German Wikipedia, and that size is a problem. The propellers of the Tu-95 were already quite large, and it needed a remarkably high landing gear to get enough ground clearance. Its civil version, the Tu-114, had a low wing configuration, so the wings were even closer to the ground. It required a 3 meters high front gear to get enough space for propellers. That means 5.6 meters of diameter seemed to have been a design limitation. Interestingly, the propellers of the AN-22 are even bigger because it has a high wing configuration that provides more space under the wings for bigger, more efficient propellers. I don't know if the AN-22 engines had a lower output RPM using a different gearbox, but it seems impossible to find more detailed information. If it's also 750 RPM, the velocity of the blades would still be below the speed of sound. It would just sound different, maybe louder. So the point is, counter-rotating propellers made sense for the NK-12. It was a feasible way to avoid crazy big propeller diameters. So these were my thoughts on the NK-12 and its propellers. Thank you, like and subscribe. Goodbye.